The heavy rain lashed against the windows as 17-year-old Ethan Miller stood in the living room of his modest home in Texas. His face was pale, his jaw clenched, his fists trembling as he stared at his parents, Robert and Linda. "I told you to stay away from that boy," Robert roared, his voice thunderous, veins bulging in his neck. "He's nothing but trouble, Ethan. Now look what you've done." Ethan's chest rose and fell rapidly. "It wasn't my fault, Dad. Tyler set me up. He stole Mr. Harlan's laptop, not me." But Robert didn't believe him. Tyler, Ethan's so-called best friend, had been in trouble for years, yet he always found ways to pin the blame on Ethan. Tyler's wealthy father, George Hawkins, had deep connections in town, and every time trouble came, Tyler walked free while Ethan paid the price. "Enough!" Robert shouted, pointing at the door. "Get out. If you want to destroy your life, do it somewhere else. I won't let you ruin this family." Linda's tears fell freely. "Robert, please, he's our son." "No, Linda." Robert's voice cracked with both anger and frustration. "He's made his choice. From today, we don't have a son." Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He stared at them both, his world collapsing around him. "You're really doing this?" he whispered. Neither parent answered. And so, with only a small backpack and $37 in his pocket, Ethan stepped out into the cold, dark night, abandoned, betrayed, and heartbroken. What he didn't know was that this night would ignite a chain of events that would change his life forever. The next 12 years weren't easy. Ethan drifted from one low-paying job to another, sometimes sleeping in cars, sometimes on park benches. There were nights when he went hungry, nights when he cried silently in abandoned parking lots, and nights when he promised himself one thing: "I will never let them break me." He started working double shifts, saved every penny, and slowly taught himself coding by sneaking into public libraries. By 26, he had built his first small mobile app that unexpectedly went viral. Investors noticed, and soon, Ethan launched a tech startup that skyrocketed into a multimillion-dollar company. But success never erased the pain. In all those years, his parents never called. Not once. And Ethan never reached out either. Until one day, he got a letter in the mail, a foreclosure notice. The house he once called home, the place that had thrown him out, was about to be taken away. The sleek black Tesla slowed to a stop in front of the same worn-down house where Ethan's life had fallen apart. The paint was chipped, the mailbox broken, and the yard overgrown. Ethan sat in silence for a moment, gripping the steering wheel tightly, his heart pounding. Then he saw them, Robert, older now, using a cane, and Linda, frail but still carrying a softness in her eyes. As he stepped out, his parents froze in disbelief. Ethan?" Linda whispered, her voice shaking. Robert's jaw tightened, his pride refusing to let the tears fall. "What are you doing here?" Ethan hesitated, then finally spoke. "I heard about the foreclosure. I wanted to see you." But before Robert could respond, a black SUV screeched to a stop across the street. Out stepped Tyler Hawkins, the same boy who ruined Ethan's life 12 years ago, now a wealthy, arrogant real estate developer. Well, Tyler smirked, his expensive suit gleaming under the sunlight. "Look who decided to crawl back. Little Ethan Miller." Ethan's jaw tightened. "What are you doing here?" Tyler smirked wider. "Buying this house, obviously. The bank called me yesterday. In a week, this place is mine." Linda gasped, covering her mouth. Robert's face went pale. Ethan clenched his fists. He had enough money to buy the entire street if he wanted to. But the humiliation Tyler had caused him all those years ago still burned deep. That night, Ethan stayed in his hotel, staring at the ceiling. He thought about revenge, about showing Tyler that he wasn't the broken boy anymore. But then he remembered the little Ethan who had once begged his parents not to throw him out. The boy who had nothing. The boy who slept on benches, hungry and cold. I know what it feels like to lose everything. The next morning, Ethan walked into the bank and bought the house in cash. He didn't tell his parents. He didn't tell Tyler. Instead, when Tyler arrived with his lawyers a few days later, expecting to sign the papers, the bank manager handed him the shocking news. "I'm sorry, Mr. Hawkins," the manager said. "This property has already been purchased." Tyler frowned. "By who?" A deep, calm voice answered from behind. "By me." Ethan stepped forward, dressed in a sharp black suit, his presence commanding the entire room. Tyler's smug expression faded instantly. "You," he spat. "You're joking. You're broke. You're nothing." Ethan smiled faintly. "I was. Not anymore." But Tyler wasn't done yet. Smirking, he leaned close and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. "You think buying this house changes the past? Tell them, Ethan. Tell your dear parents what really happened the night you were kicked out." Ethan froze. What is he talking about?" Linda asked softly. Tyler chuckled cruelly. "Oh, you didn't know? That laptop theft 12 years ago. Ethan didn't steal it. I did. And I framed him. Your precious son begged you to believe him, and you threw him out like trash." Robert staggered back, his face turning pale, his cane clattering to the floor. Linda covered her mouth, tears streaming down her cheeks. Is that true?" Robert whispered, his voice cracking. Ethan's silence was enough. In that moment, Robert's pride shattered. He sank into a chair, clutching his chest, whispering, "My God, what have I done?" The room was silent. Everyone stared at Ethan, waiting for his response. He looked at Tyler, then at his parents, the same parents who had abandoned him, who hadn't believed him, who had left him to suffer for 12 long years. Ethan could have destroyed them all. He could have crushed Tyler, humiliated his parents, and walked away victorious. But instead, he took a deep breath and said something no one expected. "I forgive you." The words hung in the air, heavy and trembling. Robert broke down sobbing, falling to his knees before his son. Linda rushed to embrace Ethan, crying uncontrollably. Tyler stood frozen, his smirk gone, his arrogance stripped away. You forgive them?" Tyler stammered. "After what they did?" Ethan turned to him calmly. "That's the difference between us, Tyler. You destroy people. I rebuild them." Over the next few weeks, Ethan paid off every debt, renovated the house, and set up a trust fund for his parents' future. Robert and Linda tried countless times to apologize, but Ethan always smiled softly and said, "We can't change the past, but we can shape the future." Tyler, on the other hand, lost several real estate contracts after the truth came out about his schemes. His father's influence couldn't protect him anymore. And Ethan? He wasn't just successful, he became a symbol of resilience. During a charity gala, standing before hundreds of people, Ethan told his story. 12 years ago, I was thrown out with nothing. I was angry. I was lost. But I chose a different path. I chose to forgive, because bitterness keeps you chained to the past, and forgiveness sets you free. The audience erupted into applause, many wiping away tears. Ethan didn't just return home to reclaim his past. He returned to rewrite the ending. The boy who was thrown out came back a man. Not to destroy. Not to gloat. But to heal. Because in the end, the greatest revenge is forgiveness.